Everybody. It's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. But today is one of our series that we're going to talk about,
Masterchef
and we're on episode 10.
of season 12. And this episode was all about a team challenge where they had to cook for cowboys and cowgirls, mostly cowgirls, and it seemed like, okay, this could be a fun challenge, maybe. I'm sick of team challenges after that MasterChef Junior, where they had every single episode almost was like a team challenge. It was so like, ugh.
Well, we overdosed on team challenges.
Yeah. Like, aren't you sick of team challenges?
Well, this one was interesting.
Really?
Yeah, because it showed weird things I never would have imagined happening.
Well, yeah, this episode took me by surprise, everything that happened.
And it has nothing to do with the cooking.
Yeah.
Well, it does in a way, but
it was so weird and so unlike what I thought would have happened. Like, for certain people who stay and certain people who go home, and just everything. It was so weird. And there were only a couple of things that I expected, like Dara.
Dara is still a deer in the headlights. She may have shown her expertise last week in cooking pastry products.
And they were like, okay, Dara, you got to put on a good challenge this week, even though you got the immunity pin. And guess what she does? She fucking...
A deer in the headlights.
She does a bad job, and she can't take care of these shitty yams.
She said she's cooking sweet potatoes, of all things.
It was the funniest thing ever, because they showed these little clips of her, and she just looked like she was about to cry. And it was just like, oh, God, she really needs some help. Or maybe they should have kept Shane and sent her home instead. So I expected that. But then everything else was pretty much bizarre. And it all started off with Chef Gordon and Chef Joe and Chef Aaron. And they decided that this week, two of the losers from last week who didn't get sent home, they should be team captains.
Which I think that's a good idea.
No, do you know why they did that, Safi?
To weed out the worst people?
So that they could get rid of Brie.
Oh.
They were like, oops, we wanted to get rid of her that week, and so let's put her as the team captain this week. That'll be a fun little gimmick.
Actually, she knows how to be a captain. She knows how to speak positively.
And then we can send her home just easily because she's a bad captain, as I was trying to say. But then she actually turned out to be a good captain.
Yes, she was.
Which was surprising, and it was kind of like oh God, this was like a April Fool's Day episode. Like MasterChef April Fool's special. And
well, remember, at the beginning of the episode, they kind of said, well, Brie doesn't talk very loudly, so she's going to have a very hard time. And they said that, too. But they still all worked together, and she encouraged people. She went to all of the people all the time, looking at what they were doing. And, as a, what do you call it, where you check to see if everything's okay.
This was definitely her best episode so far.
And but the thing is, it's not really about her cooking, which is why they're having the series.
I would say it's the best episode she's ever had in the whole series.
Yeah.
Including the last season she was on. Because at first, the judges were saying, as usual, they say advice and then their advice doesn't get listened to. They said, don't pick your friends, pick people who you want to help you win, so that you know that you're going to win. Right. And one of them both of them did not follow the advice. So, on one hand, let's just focus on Brie for now, because she's easier to focus on, and and so she immediately picked Fred.
She's her best friend.
Her BFF.
They're best friends.
And it was like, oh no, this is going to be a disaster, and she's going to do a terrible job.
I didn't think that.
Legally Blonde Part 3, except, probably the Disney edition. And, well, it's just because, like, oh, she picks her friend, and, maybe she's just not going to be very tough and aggressive and, in order to, like, take charge as a captain. But she ended up, it was really funny to watch her take charge. Like, there was this one part where she says, I need everyone to come up front. I need everyone to come up right now. And she can barely, like, that was really hard for me to do that, to try to, like, speak at, like, this tiny little voice. Like, that's what she sounds like. And she's like, I want everyone to come up here right now so we can talk about it.
They have to, when they decide what they want to make, and they have to make samples of everything they're going to do, so the judges can taste them and determine whether they need to do something with them to make them better, or it's not appropriate, or they need to add something or take something away. It's too sweet, it's too spicy, it's too, it's burned, it's not cooked enough. And so she brought up a plate of stuff for the, I guess it was just Ramsay, right? It was just Gordon. And he tasted everything, and he did his little commentary, like, these are really good.
And she said, okay.
And then she rounded up everybody, and she told them what he said. She communicated. That was the thing. And she was encouraging and supportive.
Safi.
But on the other hand...
Hey, we're still on Brie now.
Okay.
And
Will you put some salt on the steak? Yeah.
Like, that's what she sounded like.
I'm standing
that's
next
what
to
she
Marco. I can't
sounded like.
understand what he's saying.
And so it's so funny to, like, watch her, like, lead the team, because, like, she's like a mouse. It's like, if instead of doing that animated Tom and Jerry live action weird shit where, oh god, that looked terrible.
A live action Tom and Jerry?
They did live action, but then they had Tom and Jerry be animated. It was really dumb.
That's
Nobody
stupid.
liked it.
That's a dumb.
Chloe, who I met, was starring in it. It was a disaster. Everyone hated it. It was a piece of shit. But instead of having, like, Tom and Jerry, they should have had Brie play Jerry, the mouse. Because, she would work perfectly for the role. And she could just be like, like, they should really hire Brie to be the next Jerry. What do you think, Safi?
I think that's just dumb.
You think she's up to the challenge?
I don't think she'll make it as far as the cooking. I don't think she'll be able to compete. But she did probably the best I've seen a manager or team captain can do.
Yeah, she was way better than Mafia Don from Masterchef Junior.
Well, the thing is, she was just supportive and encouraging. And she was nice.
She wasn't controlling.
No.
She wasn't, like, forceful.
No.
Like Mafia Don.
She was pleasant.
So the episode all started... So we have Brie. But then on the other side, we have Segregation Shelley. And we say that because it was really awkward watching the team picking thing, the elementary school dodgeball team
Which I hate
picking
that.
thing.
I don't care if the adults do it or the kids do it. I hate it.
Yeah, I think it's really old-fashioned.
I don't like it.
It's one of those things where it's like, we don't want to see kids smoking in movies anymore. That was stupid to begin with. That's something to get rid of. Another thing to get rid of is this stupid method of team picking where it's like, oh, look, it's the dodgeball captains. And what happens is a similar situation where you have Derek, and Safi doesn't like him because she doesn't like his haircut, so she's biased. She's biased against him.
Well, I think he's a little full of himself. That's one thing that
irritates me. Because he's good. Because he's good.
He is good, and he's
better than you.
What happened? I don't give a damn.
Yeah, you do.
Marco, look. What happened was there were all the people that needed to be picked were standing in line, and then the two captains they take turns picking.
We already established that. That's like self-explanatory.
So he's standing there, and Shelley, segregation Shelley.
Oh, Safi's adopting a nickname.
Well, anyway, it surprised me that she did that. In fact, I don't think we noticed it when it happened.
Let's explain I didn't notice it, but
I didn't.
What happened was Derek said, Shelley, you were in my season with me, remember? You were in my season. We were on team challenges, and you saw that I kicked ass on the grill and that I won all these challenges. And she's like, who cares? I'm going to go with my gut and pick Christian. And I didn't realize why she really picked Christian. But then when I saw her team, when they were talking about making the dishes, I realized,
Okay, that's enough now. That's enough.
Segregation Shelley. She purposefully picked, she missed one black guy, and he was the lightest of them all. So she probably didn't want him anyway. And that was Gabriel, and he got on the winning team. Yes. But she purposefully picked all the black contestants to be on her team.
Which was really weird. And I think Christian, who is a good, basically he's been pretty good too. He was surprised by it. He was like, "What's going on here?" In fact, he was, and I don't know if it affected his cooking, but he was not on his game.
He was weirded out.
He was weirded out.
Everyone on her team was weirded out because it was such an awkward situation that, oh wow, it's like, this is like the 1960s. Like, she's segregating people based on their race.
And she would stand, she's the team captain. She's responsible for what everybody's doing, and if it's coming together, if, let's say one part of the team, they're not doing well with whatever they're doing.
Well, let's not get there yet. Okay. What happened first was, because that's all you do is just jump ahead, like you're a fucking leapfrog. You're even dressed up like a leapfrog, too. You have a green shirt on.
Okay, Marco.
You could be a leapfrog.
Okay, are we going to do the review, or are we just going to insult each other?
Well, no, it's like, it's a waste of time, because it's like we just have to keep going back and forth.
Okay, go.
I've been going. You're screwing it up again. They're trying to choose food. And the thing is, with steak is, for me at least, personally, I don't even really eat sauce with steak anymore, because if you have a good steak, you don't need sauce at all. However, when you're doing a team challenge, and you have to have steak for a large number of people, especially cowboys and cowgirls, they should all have sauce on their plate.
Yeah, if they want it, they should be able to have it.
And the segregation team, they decided, Shanika Fakeface decided that it would be best to have compound butter on the steaks. And what was funny was Brandy, the white girl, the country girl, the one who knows the types of people who were eating the food, she said, shouldn't we have like a sauce, like A1 or ketchup or something? And, of course, there is no ketchup in France. Remember that, Safi? Yeah. That is a Worst Cooks in America reference. That was a really funny show.
Yeah, but I think even the person who said that would have agreed.
I know she would have
about the steaks, and there needing to be at least
Pennywise.
a sauce available.
Chef Pennywise.
This is like this food that they made. Both teams were like something you make for a cookout, for a barbecue.
Yeah.
So it's barbecue food. So do you put what's it called? Compound butter? I mean.
It's kind of like in.
What do you do with that?
It's like in The Office, in the Beach Olympics episode, where they're doing the hot dog eating contest, and people are like, "Can we at least have some like ketchup or mustard on these hot dogs?" And he's like, "No ketchup, no mustard. You just pick up the hot dogs and shove them down your gullet." It's like, God, see, that sucks. Who the fuck wants that? Not me. Like, sorry, but a hot dog is good, but I want sauce on the hot dog. I want sauce on the steak, too. And I don't want no butter sauce. But fucking Fake Face, she immediately interrupted Brandy, the white girl, and said, no, we should have a butter sauce. And of course, they all overruled Brandy, the white girl. Even though she knows the audience. So
she
it was
knows the people are going to be eating the food.
Very bizarre.
Yeah.
Choice.
That should have been a signal about what the rest of it was going to be like.
Yeah. And so butter on steak. That's just weird. That's really weird.
I don't know what she's talking about.
That's like a pretentious restaurant thing.
I don't know what it is. It's a city thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's a city thing.
I don't even think they would do that in the city. I just think that's like, I don't know. It's just bizarre. I mean, I don't care about sauce on my food either. But if I had guests over, I had a party, and I had 20 people, you better well know that some of them are going to want to put their steak, or they're going to dip it in sauce.
No, Safi. Lock all the sauce in the cabinets and give them butter.
Yeah.
Give them a bowl of microwaved butter.
Oh.
Dip your steak in the I mean, this isn't lobster. You know, like you do that with lobster.
Yeah, I was gonna say lobster would be.
Not with the steak. So that was already a huge red flag. You know, they're already, what do they call it? You know, discriminating against Brandy. But then, over the course of the episode, Safi can even attest to this. Segregation Shelley, which of course isn't like, couldn't you just call her like a separatist? So couldn't you just say like separatist Shelley?
No, I'm just shocked she was acting like this.
Yeah, she was really bad.
She's not like that.
Because, like, I thought she was pretty good up to this point, and so it was really disappointing how trash she was in this episode. And, of course, this is all because of the editing. We don't really know if, in reality, she was like this on the show. But it really came off like that, for sure.
Sure did.
And to the point of where the two white contestants, Brandy and, what was the other girl's name? Emily. Yeah, because I keep on forgetting she's there because they don't focus on her, even though she's like the best chef there.
Right.
Well, they would do stuff, and then Segregation Shelley would come over and hover over them to the point of where
they were kids.
It was like a Me Too thing where she's like gonna invade their bubble. You know, like what was that song that they taught you in middle school? Like, stay out of my personal bubble or something.
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was this really gay ass song where they said, stay out of your bubble. That all people have a bubble, and you have to stay out of their bubble.
They're talking about personal space.
And Segregation Shelley was in these people's bubbles, certain people only. And she was like yelling at them and like micromanaging them. And it was so embarrassing because then Christian, he was doing a terrible job on steaks, which was really weird because he's really good. And he was like going back and forth with her, and she was like, "Oh, okay, he's just passionate. He's got a lot of passion." But then when Emily started going back and forth with her, she told Emily directly to turn down her volume. And it's like, see, there you go. That's
And why?
good old-fashioned racism.
I don't know what it was. It was very out of character, I thought.
That was weird.
I understand.
And so what happened, though, with Derek was pissed off. And I don't blame him because, well, actually, I think that everyone kind of knew that she was being racist in that team pick. I don't know.
It was shocking.
I don't know, though. And Derek, he did such a fantastic job. He cooked like 100-something perfect steaks, which is like a miracle on Masterchef team challenges.
And he said he could do that too.
And he made sure to nail in the point every time he could. And then Segregation Shelley was the one who ended up going home too.
Yeah.
And so it was basically this whole episode was the downfall of Segregation Shelley.
Yeah.
So
it's too bad because it's just totally out of character for her.
It was weird. It was like maybe
I think it weirded everybody out. I don't care if they were black or white or whatever. Everybody was weirded out. Like, what's going on here?
She was also pretty mean to the Spice Queen too.
Yeah.
And you know, she's Muslim. She's not black or white, and she was mean to her as well. So, you know, she clearly had like this bias against these certain 3 competitors. Why? ... So it was really weird to watch. To me, it felt like in those 1940s movies or 50s movies where you have like a boxer and they're paid to lose a fight or something. Like maybe she was paid beforehand. Okay, Shelley, it is time for you to be a segregationist and for you to be vehemently racist on MasterChef. And if you do, then we'll give you an extra money when you get sent home on the show. Because she wasn't that mad at all.
No, she was very matter of fact.
And so you have to wonder, did she get paid to be racist on this episode?
Oh, no.
I don't know.
I just think she made a mistake.
I don't know.
I don't know what... she never talked about it. And I didn't notice it when it was happening. Meaning when she picked.
I didn't notice it either.
I didn't even think.
But then I saw the team working together and I was like, uh-oh. It was like,
All I know is she, by not paying attention to everybody, whether they were black or white or whatever, that she lost. And it was all on her watch.
And what was funny, what happened was...
She was responsible.
Segregation Shelley was telling Brandy to put more sugar in the beans.
Yes,
and the black guy, Willie, said, no, don't do that. The beans are fine. And so Brandy was forced to tamper with the beans and make them really gross and sweet. And it was because she was telling her she wasn't even listening to her own segregation pick.
But the problem, even further, was that Gordon, like I said, they had to give him some of what they're going to be cooking for the people.
Chef Gordon.
And he said they were too sweet and to tone it down. And she said, but she's saying that they needed to be sweet.
The segregationist wants them sweet.
So it's not like it's her versus her. It's Gordon and the African American guy who also said they were too sweet. That there's nothing wrong with them. Leave them alone. Don't make them any more sweeter.
And she wasn't trusting him.
No.
So,
I don't know what that was about.
This is a question mark of an episode.
Yeah.
Like, especially the fact that Brie basically had a flawless performance, too.
She did, but it's not about the cooking. It was about her management skills.
That doesn't matter. Like, she did an A+ job in management. So, it was pretty weird.
We've seen a lot of group challenges on the adults and the children, and she's done the best I've ever seen.
Well, what would you rate this episode on a letter grade scale?
I guess I'd give it a B.
Well, I would give it a C-.
The only reason why I did it that way because it surprised me so much. And I don't know, just in many ways there were so many different surprises. Some of them were kind of ugly, but others were like, really? Wow. So that rarely happens too, that you get surprised so much when you watch one of these. So
I thought the only reason I'm giving it a C- is because it was surprising to see Brie do so well, and her team basically destroyed the other team.
They did, because
with the steaks.
And how do you know what?
Perfectly cooked.
How when they have these group challenges, what they usually do is there's some manner in which the people who ate the food show that it was a red and a blue team, so they have to show which one they thought they did the best. So they had horseshoes, and they had separate places, and if they had a red horseshoe area and a blue horseshoe area, and they kept, as the people were voting with their horseshoes, you could see that the red team
visibly
was getting all of these horseshoes. So, I mean, you could just tell it was so visual. Sometimes it's not as clear. They'll put a ballot in a box or something, and then at the end, a little red flag or a little blue flag will stand up.
I'm not going to give this episode anything above a C-, because I really didn't like how one of the best chefs on the show turned into one of the worst chefs on the whole season.
Which one's that, Christian?
No, Segregation Shelley.
Oh, I know.
Like, she's probably, I would say maybe she's the worst one so far.
She lost herself.
At least Tommy was likable. At least Tommy wasn't discriminating against people based on the color of their skin and not the content of their character. I mean,
don't know.
It's 2022, Safi. Why are people segregating people?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. That was the ugly surprise. The positive surprise was Brie.
Brie Cheese,
who did really well.
Legally Brie.
Yeah.
Safi, do you think she's legally Brie?
So anyway, I think we're done. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And please become one of our subscribers.
And keep in mind, guys, when you comment in our comments, we will not segregate you based on the color of your skin. You guys all get to comment in the same comment section. And you can all drink the same water and eat the same food, too.
Yeah. And if you've had this butter, what do you think about that? Picking that for steak. Instead of having, just ketchup, basic ketchup or steak sauce, A1, like, for example. Don't you think, if you don't eat a certain thing, like, let's say you don't eat ketchup, which I have not cared for ketchup in a long time. I don't know if I still like it. I've gone off this medicine I've been on for like 10 years. And my taste has come back. It's really helped a lot to taste things, and so I might like ketchup now. I haven't had it since I've been off the medication, but anyway, would you, if you had a party and you had like 20 people over and you were going to have steak, would you just allow one thing to be available and not the others? Or would you let everything be available to whomever wanted whatever?
If you have one sauce option on the plate and then the steak is by itself, some people could just have the steak by itself, and then others could have the sauce on it.
Whatever they wanted to do.
You know what I remember, too, from Masterchef Junior is that one group where they made corn dogs, and they made 2 types of sauces.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Those were kids, Safi.
Kids.
How did they do better than adults? Oh, wait, they weren't racist.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what she was doing.
I don't know either, but it just seemed very racist by the way it was portrayed by the editing.
And that could not be the case, but
it sure seems like
it didn't look good.
It was like watching a 1960s made-for-TV movie about Martin Luther King Jr. story.
It's a shame, though, but that's the way it goes. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.